In this video, we're going to learn about the central channel breathing that I learned from Dr. Sue Morter and how to actually do it, how to practice it. If you don't know why it's important, then I suggest you watch the first video where I go into detail about why are we actually doing the central channel breath. I really explain the reason for doing it, why we're doing it, who we are, and it will really support you in making the most out of this video. So why I was so drawn to Dr. Sue Morter, because I've done breathing for many years. I've been a yogi for more than 20 years. I've done pranayama and I love it. But there was something about the way Dr. Sue teaches the central channel breath that really something dropped in for me, something really profound. And it has a lot to do with this picture that it's not the same as hers, but I managed to find this picture because this says so much. What this picture is showing is basically that energy funnels down and then into the central channel of our body. It hits the earth and it circulates round and round. So it's a toroidal field or torus. And that's just how it is. We are energy beings, and this is how energy moves and lands in this body. Into the central channel, it hits the earth and it circulates around and round, forming this toroidal field. So remember this image. It's really helpful because it says so much about who we really are. Because essentially, we are not these bodies. We are energy beings of light. We are the cosmos. We are totality. And in this body, we can experience that. And the central channel breath is a way of bringing the mind onto the self and really getting the landing and the activation of this energy that's already happening. There's nothing to do fundamentally. There's nowhere to get to. There's nothing to make happen. We're not striving for anything. It's all already here in this moment. It's happening. Energy is coming down through the crown chakra, through the central channel, going through all the chakras. It's hitting the earth and it's circulating round. It's happening already. I don't have to do anything. It's already happening. So the point of central channel breathing is to help the mind get it and land here. Because when the mind is on the body and the breath, and instead of out there in the world, making stories and thinking and being afraid and protecting itself and trying to make life happen and doing and busy, when the mind can come in and land in the central channel and breathe and focus on breathing, that is a really skillful use of the mind. And what's the point? Why? Because when that happens, and it is a practice, it isn't just something you do once and then it's gone, because we have lived so much of our life in the mind. And so those patterns are so deep in our psyche, in our system. So in my experience, it really is a practice. It's a divine paradox because everything is already here. The truth is that. And the practice is just about bringing mind onto that. That's where the practice is. So this is my version of what I learned from Dr. Sue. If you want to know exactly how she teaches this, please look her up, drsuemorter.com, and she does so many videos on the central channel breathing. But this is my version that works for me. I don't always focus on all the different anchor points, but this is what works for me. So where to begin? I like to begin in the belly because somehow this is a wonderful anchor point in the belly. And also when I breathe into my belly. So when I inhale, I breathe in. When I exhale, belly goes back to the spine. So you can see a side view, okay? As I'm breathing in, my chest stays still. As I'm breathing in, belly expands, breathing out, belly goes back to the spine. Breathing in, breathing out. Breathing in, breathing out. Try it with me now. Put your hands on your belly. And it is something to get, but once you get it, you've got it. So, stand with your feet on the ground, or you can sit if you're more comfortable. And as you breathe in, belly expands. Breathing out, belly relaxes back onto the spine. Breathing in, belly expands. Breathing out, belly relaxes back onto the spine. I love belly breathing because it anchors my mind here in the wisdom center. And also, as we do belly breathing, the diaphragm drops and it activates the parasympathetic nervous system, which is your rest and digest, or tend and befriend system. I love that. Tend and befriend. When we are breathing up here in the upper part of our lungs, shallow breathing, we are most often in the fight, flight, and freeze survival mode. And the result of that is tension, contraction, fear, anxiety, a state of vigilance. And the system is producing adrenaline and cortisol. And that is fine for a short period, specific to be safe. But on a long-term basis, when the system is continuously in survival, fight or flight or freeze mode, it's really not good for our system. Stress. And it impacts the body negatively in so many ways, which I'm not going into today because it's not the point of this video. So if that's all you do today is belly breathing, that's great. Just start with that. Just stand with your feet on the ground. It's important to have your feet on the ground so you can ground your energy and just begin to belly breathe. What's happening is the energy is pouring in through your crown chakra into your belly as you breathe in. And as you breathe out, it's going down into the earth. So if that's all you do today, that is wonderful. Just do belly breathing. Okay, if you want to know more, let's carry on. So what we can do from then is we pull a very gentle root lock, mula bandha. And that's basically when you go and pee, or if you sit on the ground. In fact, do that now. Sit on the ground or on a chair. And when you do mula bandha or root lock, you are drawing up the floor of your perineum, which is a muscle, upwards, and you'll actually feel it on the chair. It's like when you go pee and you stop the stream of pee. It's that same muscle. Whether you're a man or woman, it's the same muscle. And that's a root lock. And the point of that is that we contain the energy. And if it doesn't work for you, let it go. Don't think about it. Just do belly breathing. But we're going to do mula bandha as we belly breathe. And we're going to now draw the energy up from the root, through the belly, into the solar plexus, into the chest, throat, third eye, and up out of the crown. So let's do that together. So you're breathing energy, the belly into your solar plexus, into your chest, up through the head, out the top of the head. And what I like to do, I like to pause before I exhale. So you breathe in, pause, mula bandha, and breathe out the top of the head. So the first anchor point is the mula bandha. The second anchor point is drawing the shoulders back. And the reason we do that is because it opens the chest. The third anchor point is a chin lock. So very gently is to draw the chin down to the chest. And it creates a chin lock. And when you start to breathe in that way, it creates the ujjayi breath, which sounds like the ocean. And I really love the soothing sound of ujjayi. And the fourth anchor point that Dr. Sue speaks of is rolling the eyes to the top of the head. So those are the 4 anchor points that she speaks of in the central channel breath. Again, if it doesn't work for you, let it go. Or try one and see what happens. This really is an experiment in your own body. So be curious, play with it, see what happens. What do you notice when you pull mula bandha or not? When you do chin lock or not? Now the ujjayi breath, which I spoke of, is this kind of sound. And I love this breath because it feels like the ocean and it's very soothing. So here it is. Can you hear that? It's basically like a guttural sound at the back of your throat. And why I like adding ujjayi breath is because the mind can land on something. What I've come to realize, you've got to be a little bit sneaky with the mind. That's what I've come to notice. And I realized all of this that I'm sharing with you is actually for the mind. It's not for the being. The being is already here. There's nothing to do. Okay, you can just sit and just breathe and you're home. Okay, you don't have to do anything. These practices are for us with busy minds so that we have something that the mind can rest into, because the mind loves to do. Okay, so if I tell mind, okay, focus on ujjayi breath or counting even. So counting, sound or movement. Those are little tools and tips so the mind has got something to do. And they really are helpful, I have found. So if you have a busy mind and you find breathing alone doesn't really work for you, add counting, sound, movement. Okay, so you could do a sound like ujjayi breath, or you could actually do a humming or any sound that you want, for example. And I'm going to add the movement. And the other way. Really, you can do whatever you want. Make it your own. Play with your breath, with sound, movement, and counting. But do it slowly and mindfully. And really get curious. Close your eyes in the beginning and notice what's happening inside the body. Like I often feel a lot of heat in my body when I start breathing. Even now, a lot of heat moving in my body. Some people feel tingling. Some people feel different sensations. Find out, how does your body respond? And more importantly, once you've done this for a couple of breaths, notice what happens up here. Does your mind get more quiet? Do you feel a sense of opening happening? A little bit more space inside your body? Do you notice that there's more stillness? So play with it, make it your own. the general principle is that you can breathe up from the earth through all the chakras, out the top of your head and all around, or the other way, breathing down, funneling like a waterfall through all the chakras, down into the earth and circulating around. And then you've got the belly breath. Dr. Sue calls it the spherical breath because what we actually want to do is we want to breathe spherically in all directions. So not only in the front, but I actually want to breathe into my back as well. And again, play with it. Let your body show you how it wants to breathe and move. And another application while I'm on a roll is that the breathing is just activating the energy that's already here. And you can open to healing. That's another thing that I learned from Dr. Sue, is finding the healer within. Because when I start to breathe and the energy begins to move, and I have the intention for healing, then I just open and allow healing to happen. There is a supreme intelligence in the energy, which is really who we are. The supreme intelligence, it knows exactly what to do. And when this energy starts to move and circulate through the body with the intention of healing, guess what? Healing happens. And I just rest back in receiving mode, just receiving, allowing, being, and continuously bringing the mind back into the body. Because you'll notice as you do this, the mind runs off on another little trajectory, and then the mind goes that way because it wants to think about that, and then the mind goes off. That's what the mind does. It's very normal. This practice, I'm gently bringing the mind back and breathing. And when the mind can focus on sound or movement or counting, some people also count. For example, counting in for 4 breaths, pausing, counting out for 4 breaths, or making your exhale longer than your inhale. There are so many different ways to play with these things to add to your breathing. Or you can just let it all go, just sit and be. Breathing is happening anyway. There's nothing to do. There's nothing actually to do. And when you start to do central channel breathing, what you find is that you feel calmer, there's more space in the body, you start to heal more quickly through things, creativity becomes more available. And when my mind lands more deeply in the body, I'm able to tune in for deeper wisdom, for truth, for inspiration. And I'm able to hear, to receive, because the mind is resting here. And so information that comes, that drops in, I can perceive it because I'm here. I'm not there, I'm here. And so I'm ready, I'm available for things dropping in. And I recognize it, I perceive, because I'm in my body. I'm here. So this mansion of magnificence that we've been gifted with, this house, do you want to just live in the attic in your mind? Or do you want to live in the whole mansion, to occupy every room, open the windows, let the fresh air in, decorate it the way you love? I invite you to live in this magnificent mansion, the sacred temple of your body, in the whole body, not just in the attic. Or as Dr. Sue says, driving the car, sitting on the roof. That's what it's like when you live only in your head. Come inside, come and sit and land here in your body. So play, go and play, get curious, practice central channel, put your feet in the garden, on the grass, and do it outside. It's even more delicious when you do it outside, when you feel the sun on your skin, the wind on you, and you feel the moisture under your feet of the grass. Oh, It's really, this body just dissolves and you really experience open spaciousness without borders, without limits, which really is the truth of our being. So blessings to you. My name is Julia. I'm an embodiment life coach, and I love being in a body and living from the place of presence. Speaking from there, choosing from there, listening from there, moving from there. And ultimately, it really is another word for love, the deepest love. So may this be of service to you, and enjoy.